Hola, welcome to Fan for Spanish Materials. This is going to be a very important topic and we're going to take it easy. Uh, this is going to be our second past tense. It's called past simple. In Spanish, it's called Pretérito Indefinido, but we are going to just call it past simple. And it's the one that we use when we say I did, I made, I ate, I worked. So it's when you have the personal pronoun and right after you put a verb in past tense. So it's a bit different from the past tense we studied before. That was the present perfect when we say I have done, I have written. This one is just I did. So I hope you understand the difference here. Now, let's do this. So, we're going to talk first about regular verbs. We have regular verbs and also irregular verbs. Remember, for every single tense in Spanish, there will be different irregular verbs. And this is not exception. This is your third tense. And in this third tense you're learning, which is a past tense, you're going to also learn the irregular verbs for this tense. Yeah. Good. So now let's have a look at the verbs and also how to conjugate them in this tense. So, well, here we have our personal pronouns in simple structure. So we have yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Um, by now, I think you already know what they mean. I, you, he, she, you, formal, we, you guys, Spain, ellos, ellas, they, and they, female, ustedes, you guys in Latin America. That's it. Now, let's take the AR verbs. For the AR verbs, we are going to have endings. And for the ER and IR verbs, we're going to have other endings, and they are going to be very similar. So, for the AR verbs, these are the endings we're going to use to conjugate on this past tense. E is for yo, haste is for you, for tú, sorry. O is for él, ella, usted. Amos is for nosotros. Hasteis is for vosotros. And Aaron is for ellos, ellas, ustedes. So you might think, okay, but how am I supposed to learn all these different endings? And it sounds overwhelming, right? Don't worry. My recommendation is just to learn the first one for the first person, for yo. Concentrate on learning just to this 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 personal pronoun, because if you try to learn them all at the same time, it's going to be overwhelming, you're going to be confused, and you're not going to learn fast. So concentrate first on this one, yo, and then once you know this one, then you're going to learn for two. Yeah, if you know two and you can ask questions and answer them, so that would be great, right? So let's go back to this. So e is going to be for AR verbs, and for ER and IR verbs, we're going to use E. Okay, so that's much simpler than thinking about all these endings, right? E for AR verbs and E for ER and IR verbs. As you can see, there is a stress on it. That means that you have to put a stress on that vowel when you say the word camine. It's not camine or camine, it's camine. Camine has the stress on the E here, so camine is the way you say it. Comí, viví. Yep. So camine means I walked. Comí means I ate. Viví means I lived. Remember, if you want to make a negative sentence, always put the no right after the personal pronouns. Yeah. If you want to say, I didn't walk, you're going to say, yo no caminé. I didn't eat. Yo no comí. I didn't live. Yo no viví. Okay? So, with this, you're pretty much ready to use the first personal pronoun, yo, I, and conjugate it for AR, ER, and IR verbs. Just put an E if it's AR or an I if it's an ER or IR. That's all. Let's practice now the second person too. For the second person too, we're going to do exactly the same thing, but the difference is that the ending is going to change. As you can see, for AR verbs, we are going to have aste, and for ER and IR verbs, I want to use a different color, we are going to use iste. Okay? So, let's say you walked. Tú caminaste. That will be you walked. If you want to say you ate, that would be tú comiste. If you're going to say you lived, it's going to be tú viviste. So, as you can see, haste, AR verb, is very intuitive because caminar, caminaste. So you carry on with the A and you put haste, right? Same for comer and vivir. For ER and IR verbs, we're going to use iste. Yeah, comiste, viviste. So, how would you say, did you live in Colombia? I'm going to give you 10 seconds for that one. Did you live in Colombia? 10 seconds starting from now. Good. I think that was 10 seconds. Did you live in Colombia? ¿Tú viviste en Colombia? Perfect. That's it. Remember, we don't have the did. Statements and questions are formulated the same way. The only difference is that you sing it up at the end. Tú viviste en Colombia. You lived in Colombia. Tú viviste en Colombia. Did you live in Colombia? Yeah. Good. So, uh, with these two personal pronouns explained, and it's enough. So now you know how to conjugate this tense, past simple, for yo and tú. This is enough. Also, you know how to make them in negative. This is great. Later on your own, you're going to start studying these other four. It's not necessary for you to learn them now. Again, it's recommended that you just stick to these two, practice them for maybe 1 month even, and then later you start incorporating the rest in this order of priority. Uh, okay, now when do we use this tense? This tense is used when you are out of the time frame. What does out of the time frame mean? Is when you are no longer in a period of time. Let's have an example. Last month. Are you in last month? No, you are not. Last week. Are you in last week? No, you are not. Yesterday. Are you in yesterday? No, you're not. And so on. This is out of the time frame. That's what it means. It means that you're no longer there. And for you to recognize this is when we use the word last all the time. Last week, last weekend, last year, last month, last century, and so on. or simply yesterday or last night, right? We are no longer there. So when we are out of the time frame, we are going to use the past simple I did. Also, it's important for you to understand what is to be in the time frame. To be in the time frame is when you say this month, this week, today, this year, this century. As you can see, are you in this month? Yes, you are. Are you in this week? Yes, you are. Are you in today? Yes, you are. And so on. We said that we are going to use this for the I have done. That's correct. And we said the I have done is not going to be used for out of the time frame. So the beauty of this tense is that it can also be used for in the time frame. So it makes it super versatile. This past tense is the most versatile past tense in Spanish because you can use it both in the time frame and also out of the time frame. So it is a no-brainer. It's highly recommended to use it most of the times. So that's a really good thing and it's a great advantage. So you can use this past simple always, pretty much. Now, let's have a look at the irregular verbs. I'm going to clear the screen because it looks like a clown right now. Let's have a look at this. Irregular verbs. So we have a few of them, and uh, you're going to learn here how to conjugate them and to incorporate them in your speech is going to take you some time because it's a lot to take on and to learn. Now, how do you conjugate them? We are going to work with roots and endings. If you want to conjugate a verb, you have to first put the root and then put the ending according to the personal pronoun, right? So let's have a look at the roots first. These are the irregular verbs we have in Spanish. Tener is to have, and the root is going to be tuv. Poner is to put, and the root is going to be pus. Estar is to be, and the root is going to be estuv. Decir, dig, venir, vin, poder, put, querer, quis, hacer, is, saber, sup. Now, you might be thinking, okay, the roots are weird. Yeah, that's why they are irregular, because they change. The endings are going to be these ones here. Iste, o, imos, isteis, hieron. How do we conjugate a verb? Let's have a look. Let's take as an example the verb tener. So these are the personal pronouns. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Let's say we want to say, I had. So we're going to use this personal pronoun, yo. If I want to say I had, I'm going to use first the root, tuv, and then I'm going to use the ending for this personal pronoun, which is going to be e. Yo tuve. Yo tuve. Tú tuviste. Él tuvo. Nosotros tuvimos. Vosotros tuvisteis. Ellos tuvieron. As you can see, the root never changed. The root remained always the same, tuv. The only thing that was changing was the ending for every single personal pronoun. Yo tuve, tú tuviste, él tuvo, nosotros tuvimos, vosotros tuvisteis, ellos tuvieron. So these are the ones that change. And the roots remain the same. Let's do another verb that maybe let's do poder. It's a very important verb, is to be able, can. Okay. Um, how would you say, and I'm going to give you 5 seconds for this one, I could. 5 seconds starting from now. So that was 5 seconds. If you want to say I could, you're going to say yo pude. Let's carry on doing the rest. Tú pudiste. Él pudo. Nosotros pudimos. Vosotros pudisteis. Ellos pudieron. Good. So we conjugated the verb to have, tener, for all of the personal pronouns, as well as the verb poder, to be able to, also in all of the personal pronouns. The same you have to do with the rest of these verbs. Here and here there are some exceptions. Ellos dijeron is an exception. You're not going to say ellos dijeron, but ellos dijeron. It's just an exception. Also, él hizo is going to be written with a Z. Z. Él hizo. That's it. So, you're going to learn these verbs one by one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just do one a day. In 9 days, you're going to master all of them. Dedicate one entire day for one verb and then go for the next one. After 9 days, you're going to have a better idea. Good. Now, two more verbs that we have to look at. I'm going to clear here. Um, the verbs ir and ser. The verbs ir and ser are irregular and they don't behave the same way the other irregulars do. This is the conjugation for these verbs, ir and ser. So you might be thinking, but why two different verbs have the same conjugation? Isn't it confusing? It could be, yeah, but the difference is that ir is the verb to go and ser is the verb to be for permanent conditions. So you're not going to be confused as long as you understand the context. Let's have a look at these conjugations. How do we say I went? Yo fui. How do you say you went? Tú fuiste. How do you say she went? Ella fue. Nosotros fuimos, we went. Vosotros fuisteis, we went. You guys went. Ellos fueron, they went. This is for the verb to go. If you want to say we were or I was for ser, then you say yo fui also, I was. You were, tú fuiste. She was, ella fue, and so on. So, how do we do so we don't get confused about these two verbs? Well, the verb ir always goes with the preposition a. I go to somewhere. I go to the beach. I go to the supermarket. So, ayer fui a la playa. As you can see here, we have a. Ayer yo fui a la playa. That means is the verb to go because you have the preposition to. Yesterday I went to the beach. Also, the context is telling us that there is the beach here. It's not that yesterday I was the beach, right? Then it will be really weird. For the verb ser, we don't use prepositions. Esa noche fui un idiota. That night I was an idiot. So I'm not using any preposition. And also, the context is helping me to understand that it's the verb to be. I was an idiot. right? I didn't go to an idiot, I was an idiot. So that will be it. Treat the verb um, uh, ir and ser, treat them both as new verbs as well. So instead of 9, we're going to have 11 verbs, and we're going to dedicate 11 days to learn them all. Good. How do we practice this? Well, the easiest way to practice this, and it's going to take a long time, I'm telling you, to nail this tense, it might take you months, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 1 if you practice every day and quite a lot. So, my recommendation, please, is always study the Quizlet flashcards for 10, 20, 30 minutes if you can, just to make all these concepts fresh. If writing helps you learn, please do the notes and writing. That's great. And now we go to use them in real life situations. It's going to be very simple. Tell others about what you did yesterday, last week, last year, everything that is out of the time frame. And also ask them about what they did yesterday, last week, last year, and so on. By telling others what you did yesterday, last week, last year, last weekend, is gonna create stories where you have to use the past simple constantly. Also, by asking them, you're practicing your second person conjugation, which is great. So do this a lot. Okay, that will be it. This is one of the most important topics in this level. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it and you learned a lot. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Hasta luego.